Here's the thing. Your favorite influencers like Patrick Bet-David, Greg O'Gallagher, the guy from Kino Body, and Iman Gadzhi have all taken a step back from building out their business and instead have doubled down on creating content and building their personal brand. Why? Because they understand that attention is the biggest currency in 2024, and the more eyeballs they get, the more eyeballs their business gets. Therefore, if you're a man that's watching this right now and you want to become an influencer, you want to start your own business, or let's say you just want to become more marketable to employers, you're going to need to start a personal brand. Otherwise, you're going to be completely invisible to them. For those that don't know, I'm a celebrity social media manager. I've managed social media for the likes of Mike Tyson, Brendan Schaub, Gary Owen, Steven Crowder, and many others. I have a ton of experience building social media accounts from the ground up and taking over accounts with millions and millions of followers. So I know a thing or two about what I'm talking about. But let's get into what a personal brand is. Your personal brand is essentially your digital footprint, right? It's your personality, your skills, your passions, what it is that you talk about, like basically who you are. If I can take a look at your accounts, can I kind of get a gauge of what you do, who you are, and what you're all about? When you see a CEO posting on LinkedIn, that's them trying to build a personal brand. When your favorite influencer goes on different podcasts and starts talking about whatever it is that they're talking about, that's them building their personal brand. So why do you need to be creating content, especially if you work a 9-to-5 and don't necessarily have dreams or aspirations right now of becoming an entrepreneur? Well, here's why. It's because the economy is dog shit right now. I can't go on LinkedIn without seeing somebody get fired, without seeing someone laid off, without seeing someone try to transfer jobs. Like, it is a mess right now. And the best personal brands are recession-proof. Why? It's because the people that are suffering the most are people that are invisible. That, when you think of an industry, you don't even think of those people. Granted, they've been working in that industry for 20 years. Yet you have this young guy that came in that has 3 years of experience and he's absolutely crushing it. And when you think of accounting, let's say, you think of that person, right? That's a good personal brand. And here's the thing. If you watch my channel, you don't want to be 40, 45 years old having to suck on the teat of another man and ask that person for a job. Instead, you can take your iPhone and start talking about whatever it is, we're about to get into it, but you take your iPhone and you could build a personal brand just off of this that eventually will replace your 9-to-5 job. It'll take some time, but eventually you'll be able to replace it. So let's get into what it is that you need to talk about. There's 2 ways to build a personal brand. The first way is to talk about something that you're passionate about. Let's say you're a young guy that's really passionate about exotic cars. You're going to talk about the latest and greatest about all the exotic cars that you love. You're going to go into, the ones that are coming out, maybe some of the issues that you see in the auto industry as a whole, right? I don't know much about exotic cars or cars in general, but what I do know is that there's a lot to talk about there. Then you could also go to car meets and ask the car owners, the exotic car owners, why they chose this specific car over another car. Another example of this would be, let's say you're really passionate about cooking. It's cooking healthy meals. Now you can gear it towards, people that are into fitness, but you can make it super simple. Like, it could be like healthy recipes made extremely simple. So simple that just anybody can do it, especially guys, because, we don't cook a lot sometimes. And so that could be, your target demographic is basically anybody that likes healthy meals, especially men, because it's easy for them, to follow these recipes and it'll be a simple thing for them to do. And eventually, you just start putting out content and maybe talk about why you're into, show yourself behind the camera. Like, why did you get into cooking, right? Maybe you had a weight loss transformation that was really great. And just talk about that, as well as show why you started cooking in the first place and why cooking healthy meals is important to you. Just document that journey, as well as show off the meals in an aesthetic way. The second way to create content is to talk about something that you're already doing currently in your career. So let's say you're an accountant in New York City. Talk about what it's like to be an accountant on Wall Street, right? Talk about what it is that you do in your day-to-day. Talk about the requirements or the tests that you needed to take to become an accountant, how much an accountant makes, all the the perks of becoming an accountant, the negatives and the issues of being an accountant, right? And then also go out there and interview other accountants and find out why they got into the industry. Like, what's their motivation behind being an accountant? Then when people think of it, the accounting industry, and when they actually need an accountant come April, they're going to think of you and you're going to be the person that they go to. That's going to make your business that much bigger. Another example is if you're a personal trainer. Let's say you train stay-at-home moms. Talk about what you eat for, to stay lean. Talk about your client progress, right? Show off all the different moms that you train. Show off what kind of exercises that they do that are beneficial for them, especially if they're a little older. You can position yourself as just that premier guy for women, let's say 40 and up or 35 and up. And that is when people think about personal training and, they need somebody to train their mother eventually, they're going to think of you as that go-to personal trainer. So the question is, what platform should you be using, right? LinkedIn should be your platform if you are posting career-oriented stuff. So if you're that accountant that's posting about accounting, that's the kind of stuff that's the platform that you should be using. If you are posting more passion-driven stuff, Instagram and TikTok are going to be your best friends. Then after a few months of just working on these platforms, right? Even if you're posting on LinkedIn and you're doing well, or you're more of that passion guy that's posting on TikTok and Instagram, then eventually you're going to want to transfer to YouTube long-form content, because that is the king. That is how you build the best audience. But that being said, it's also the hardest audience to build, because you have to understand titling, thumbnailing, SEO. There's a lot that goes into it. And that's maybe when you want to hire a professional, or if you really understand it and you kind of get better at Instagram and TikTok, and even, if you're doing LinkedIn, if you get good at those platforms, you can kind of start to figure out after watching a few YouTube videos on how to optimize your YouTube the best possible way. But here's the thing, it's taken even some of the best creators years to take off. But if you're lucky, it may take a few months. If you're posting content that is educational, entertaining, or motivational, then eventually, if you do this for a long enough time, you will be able to build such an amazing audience. And all you need is 1,000 loyal subscribers, 1,000 loyal followers that love everything that you have to say and that resonate with you the most. So that's my advice to you, is just keep going, and figure out what it is that you want to talk about that's going to be sustainable for the next few years, right? Think about this as a long-term play and not something that's very, very short-term. The best and easiest way to start is to talk about what it is that you're doing in your career, or, you can talk about your passions. And those are really the two pillars that I kind of look at of like, which direction do you want to go? The best case scenario is if your passion is your career, then you talk about that. That being said, that's my advice, and that's basically how you start building a personal brand. And I really genuinely believe that every man between the ages of 18 to 35 years old needs to start a personal brand. Otherwise, they will get left behind. So if you like this type of content, let me know. If you want to work one-on-one with me, click the link in the description, and I'll catch you next time.